Hello and welcome back to the Cesspool, and welcome back to the 25 Days of Christmas. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate. I truly hope that is a good one. And today we are surprisingly not looking at a video game or video game related item. We're actually looking at camera lenses, which, oh man, you're looking through one of those right now, but we're going to also be looking at them through one. So... These are not your typical modern DSLR mirrorless camera lenses where they have a bunch of tech in them. You know, they electronically connect. They have, you know, autofocus, blah blah blah, all that stuff. I mean, autofocus has been around for a while, but you know what I mean. These are 1970s through the early 80s Minolta Rocore lenses, and this is a collection that I've been quietly just kind of teetering and playing around with for the past year or so. It's interesting. I had actually wanted to make a video on these for a long time. I had even partially recorded one that was probably a little bit more extensive than what I'm actually going to be talking about here. I probably rambled a bit more, but I find them very interesting, and it's honestly something that I want to get more into. Quite frankly, I haven't had too much of a use for these guys other than just casual, you know, hobby photography. I've played around with them for video as well, and they can be very cool, and I would like to shoot something with these. I think that they have a very unique look, because these earlier, so these are all manual lenses. They have a manual aperture, a manual focus. These in particular, speaking of focus, these don't want to focus. These are all prime lenses, so none of these have a zoom functionality. And obviously, you know, this is your longest range. I believe this is a 135 here. Doesn't want to focus. There we go. So this is a 135. This is an MD compared to this guy up front, which is an MC. Now we'll talk about that real quick. So basically the way Minolta lenses work are the Rocore line of Minolta manual lenses is you started with the MB. I believe that was in the early to mid 60s was when they came out with that line. And that was the beginning of the Rocore branding, at least here in North America. And they were always praised as being very high quality lenses. Everything's made of metal. You have a very smooth surface for turning your focus, and you have a very clicky and very responsive aperture dial here. And this guy is an MC, for example. So what do I have here? I've already mentioned the 135. Obviously, that's going to be your longest range lens. I've used this for aircraft photography, actually. And it works very, very well because, honestly, I didn't have a lens that went to a 135 previously for this camera, which we're recording on. So being able to shoot with a 135 and have it be manual focus is fantastic because... with manual focus and with manual aperture, it's all just about range, right? So you can manually adjust the range that it's focused at. And with these manual lenses, you can find a pocket where, oh, it's between, you know, if I'm on aperture 4 here, and I can find, you know, my range of whatever, it'll be between maybe 32 to 34 feet-ish, 32 feet, because it's all based on this number here. So when you're at 4, you're going to be looking at where 4 would be between this little diamond here. So obviously these numbers are not going to work as well, and my lighting is not really working for this, but we have technology and we can zoom. So yes, so here's your 4. So it's going to be between somewhere between that 11 and the diamond there, and down there between that little red mark and the diamond there. And then from there you would match it up to your green numbers up top for feet. So it would be somewhere between maybe 40 to 45 would be your 4. And as you get higher in the numbers, right? So this means you're adding less light to the lens, because the lower the number on your aperture ring, the more light that you're going to be allowing into the lens, means that you have better range of focus. And if you want, you could throw it all the way to infinity, which means that from 50 over here to infinity, if you had it on 22, obviously, because you're past the 22 there, from infinity onward, meaning from 50 feet to infinity, you basically have unlimited focus. And when you're doing aircraft photography, you're shooting from over 50 feet away. So this guy is fantastic for aircraft photography, basically, because everything is in focus. There's no way to mess it up. Unlike on a electronic lens, which you have to fight with. There are these pockets of focus based on how much light you're letting into the lens, and that's fantastic for photography, especially moving photography. It's awesome. So yeah, so this guy is great for your long range, and like I said, aerial photography is just great. And then you got these guys. These are all prime lenses. Like I said, none of these have focus. So this is your 35. I believe this is the first one that I picked up. And this guy was a lot of fun to use close up, and this is also an MD. And the way you can tell your MD from your MCs or your MBs is the MDs are this all black design, and they have this ribbed focus ring here. And your aperture ring is actually going to be plastic rather than metal, and it's an all black design. These also have filters that you can put on them, and that's the case for all the Rocore lenses. When I purchased these from a camera shop, these they were nice enough to give me little filters here, which you could slide off if you want. And yeah, so there's your lens, and you can tell it's an MD because, well, it straight up says it right there up top. The other one I have right there, which looks almost the same but it's not, is a 28 millimeter. That is also an MD. But yeah, all the MDs are going to be this ribbed design here. And again, doesn't want to focus, so I'm going to make it focus, god damn it. Yeah, so there you go. There's your MD design. This is your distinct MD design right there. And what distincts the other M's from the MD, since I have a lot of them? Well, here's an MC. This is a 58 millimeter 1.4 MC, not an not MD, not MB, and it is unfortunately not the 1.2 aperture Hawkeye lens, which is very, very famous and very, very expensive. But honestly, unless you're doing some really crazy high light or very low light situation where you're going to need that crazy aperture, the 1.4 does just fine. Although I will say the Hawkeye is a much cooler looking lens. But yes, this is the 1.4 58 millimeter MC. And you can tell it is an MC, well, number one, because this aperture ring down here, which allows your light to come in, is all metal. And also, your focus ring is this, they call it the hills and valleys here, where you have your hills, you have your valleys for your focus ring for the actual grip on it. It also feels a lot more premium. They're also older, and they're noticeably older compared to your MDs. Also, the MCs at this point are not the greatest lens to really use. You could collect them; they look cool. They're you could use them, but honestly, with modern cameras, I would say MC and up. And to be completely frank and practical, a lot of MCs are at this point over 50 years old. So you're going to have some trouble finding ones that are not fogged up, because a lot of the problems with these guys is that they fog up. The lenses in here, they fog up. They can even gain mold inside the lens, and that can really be a bit of a nightmare to clean out. You got to get that professionally done. They have to take everything apart. They have to refinish everything and then put it back together, and it's very expensive. And quite frankly, the price of these lenses are not really worth that unless it's something like a Hawkeye or a much more rare specific configuration. Now, they did make these with zoom, obviously. I don't have one here, but there are your like 75 to 200 millimeter focus, which I would like to grab one of those for zoom. I think that would be pretty cool. It's a lot better, obviously, for dynamic photography. You don't know how far away you want to be, blah, blah, blah. I think there's a 35 to 135. That would really be great, because that kind of covers most of my range here. Although having up to a 200 millimeter would be nice, too. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of my Minolta collection. Kind of just rambled about cameras to the camera for about 10 minutes. I hope you enjoyed this, my little talk, my little ramble about Minolta lenses. I could talk about these things for a long time, honestly. They will be used at some point for videos. I don't really know when or for what reason, but they do produce some very, very cool photography. And yeah, I'd like to collect more of these. And maybe, you know, you'll see them used. They do have a very unique look to them. That's one of the reasons that people still use these things, is that they give that film look. They're not perfect. They have their kind of perfect imperfections, if that makes any sense. It almost looks like you have a filter on when you're shooting with these guys. And the sharpness of a lot of them is very, very impressive. And they're unique. What can I say? So, I would like to thank everybody so much for watching. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year, whatever you celebrate. I do hope that is a good one. I don't know when the next video will be, but I do know, actually, it is tomorrow. And I will see you guys then.